Hey class, this is just a really brief reminder video on how you can export a plan to scale from Google Earth Pro. So I'm in Google Earth Pro and I've zoomed into one of Tyler's potential sites. And I just wanted to be sure that you guys are keeping in mind the scale of the garden. It's a pretty small scale, 50 by 20 meters or about 1,000 meters squared. So you can always check what scale you're at or what the distance is if you look at your little scale bar down here. So the site that Tyler has chosen, it looks like it will be pretty much perfect. But I just wanted to be sure that you guys remember how you can bring this all into scale and make sure you export your plans properly as well. Okay, so the first thing to check is to go up to your tools and make sure in your options that you have meters and kilometers selected as your units of measurement. Just hit apply and OK. And then I'm just going to turn off my sidebar here. And I'm going to go to view and reset tilt and compass just to make sure I'm perfectly oriented north and orthogonal. So we have my little north arrow here. So we'll be able to orient this in Rhino as we make our exported plans. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit to get a little bit of more context here. And I'll do the reset tilt and compass one more time just to be sure. And now we're going to go to File, Save, Image right here. That's going to bring up this little toolbar up here, and we can go to Map Options, turn off the stuff that we don't need. I am just going to keep the scale and the compass. That's the north arrow and this bar down here. That's going to enable me to scale this properly in Rhino. So then I'm going to change my resolution to the maximum, as high as it can go. And depending on your area, this may not be super high resolution, but hopefully you can get something decent. And then you're just going to hit Save Image. I'm going to save mine to my desktop just as a test map. Tyler's site. And save it as a JPEG. Now we can jump into Rhino. I have a window open. I'm just going to check my units and make sure that I am in meters, which I am. And I will bring in my image. So we'll use picture frame. Select the image from our desktop. I'm just going to start at 0, 0 and size it up like that. I'll hit my top view here. And just look for that scale bar wherever it is. Here it is. So 30 meters. So I will draw a line from this point here to this point. Oh, sorry. I got to turn on ortho mode just so that I'm drawing straight. And I'm going to do 30 meters like that. So now if I follow this line, I can see it's hitting all the way over here. So I'm just going to click to end the line. And now I'm going to use this 30-meter line as my scale to match up the scale bar. So I'll use SC for scale. We're going to use this base point here. And the first reference point is the end point of the scale bar. That's 30 meters on the image. And we're going to scale that up to 30 meters on our line that we drew. So I can now get rid of that line. I can move this using the M command for move. From my endpoint, I'm just going to put it to 0, 0 like that. And now, if you want to just double check your measurements, you can use the distance command, DI, to check on, I'll turn ortho mode off now, check on the distance of your sites. So you have 54 here, and this is 33, super good. Great work, Tyler, on choosing this site as one of your potential sites. It's like the perfect size. So this is about how big you want your site to be. You can deviate a little bit, of course. It doesn't matter if you're a few meters above or below, but this is kind of the scale of site that we're looking for. Now, if you want to, you can draw a box around your site. So I'm going to do a rectangle. I'm going to try to include some of the context that's important around. So maybe what I'll do is, let's see, 250 meters maybe, 250, yeah, that looks good, and 250. So now I have this box, this is my, my site outline. I'll turn my gumball on and just move this down so it's a bit centered over top of my site. And if you wanted to grab more Google images so that you could match up the top and bottom just so that you can have your site all contained within the 250 meter square. 250 is not a rule. It's just a suggestion. It's nice to be able to see the context around your site. That can help inform some of your site decisions. But of course, if you if your site is differently located and you don't feel like the context around is adding a lot, you can of course reduce this to a square of a size that you think works well for your site. So I would also consider drawing another rectangle about 50 by 20. I'm just going to do 50 by 20 because that is what Tyler's site happens to fit within. So I'm just going to start it here. I'm going to take 20 meters by 50 meters here. And that could be a good way for you to sort of visualize the size of your gardens. I'm just going to orient it a little bit on the site here. Again, it's not a rule that you have to outline the site, but it's always nice just to have a sort of like reference idea of what the site might look like. And you might even make that just like a dashed line or something like that. You can change your line type here. Line type, dashed. We'll do LT scale just to check on how our scale is. Oh, that's an AutoCAD command. Okay, we'll just leave it like that for now. All right, so at this point, if you want to, you can export all of this into an Illustrator file. So I'm going to go export selected. I'm going to just use my desktop again and call it a sample, test app, Tyler's site. I'll save it as an AI file. And I'm going to give it a scale of 250 because our context plans, we've asked you to make them at a scale of 1 to 250. And then we're going to go ahead and remember how to do scale. So we would like to preserve the model scale, 1 meter. Okay, we're going to pause while Stephanie figures this out. 1 meter is going to be equal to 4 millimeters. I did that by using this handy dandy scale conversion calculator here. So my scale ratio 1 to 250, real length 1 meter is equal to scale length 4 millimeters. So I'm going to assume that people who are smarter than me have made a right calculator. And let's see what this gives us. There we go. All right, so yeah, if I remember correctly, Illustrator doesn't like taking in image files, so we're going to have to add this back again. So I'm just going to drag it in here like that, and I will resize it so that it matches the outline that we have. And then I'm going to just go to my layers panel, and I'm going to create one called MG. I will drag the image to that, and then I'm going to put this underneath all the other layers and lock it just so that I don't accidentally move it. Now we have our site boundary, which is on this default layer, and we can give that a bit of a bigger size if we want. And our site boundary here, let's maybe outline it in white. And I'm going to also pump that up a little bit and give it a stroke of a dashed line. Let's see how that works. Yeah. I think I'm going to do it even higher and make this maybe 25 by 20, maybe even higher. Yeah. Just make it really obvious where your site is. And as always, you'll want to add a north arrow and You can add a 1 to 250 scale bar if you like, and give it a title of your site plan. So what I'm going to do is unlock this layer again, grab my site outline and this, and just match it up to the top of my site plan up here. And then I'm going to, I can delete these lines from Rhino. I don't need them anymore. And I can use this white space down here as my title bar. And yeah, there we have it. So make sure also when you do this that you resize your artboard so that, oops, we can turn off this, uncheck this so that we are not moving our artwork with our artboard. You can move that to the base of your drawing and just resize it so that it fits what you have there. And also, if you like, you can check that back on again and move this all kind of into the center of your canvas so that it's not right on the edge there. There you go. And now you can export that as a JPEG or a PDF.